Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie. Today I'm here with the creative design team and we are sharing ideas on how to scrapbook with large photos. For my project today, I'm going to do a double page layout and I went stash diving pretty deep. This is called Backcountry and I think it's about 20 years old. I was looking for papers to scrapbook this hike that I did with my husband last year, and this seemed to fit the bill. Now, I don't have a lot. I have this here, this great stripe, as you can see. I did cut into a second sheet, but I did have these two pieces. And then I have this left. Now, this is going to be perfect because I'm going to use a large photo to cover up pretty much this page here. Now, normally I probably would do the same pattern on both sides, but I'm working with scraps. I'm working with paper that is over 20 years old. I even found some of the embellishments that went with this kit, and I know the hike was in October, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to use this little dial here. Summer is not going to work because it was fall, but I've got a cute arrow here, and I've got a few photos. Now, as I said, we are scrapbooking large photos, and my large photo is going to mimic, if you want, a 12 by 12 photo. Now let me show you how I'm going to achieve this right here at home. My printer only prints 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to show you the perfect hack to expand on a photo and make it run across 2 pages and make it look like it's a 12 by 12. Let's go to my computer. I'm using PicMonkey as my photo editor. I've done some editing to the photo. I kind of fixed the horizon line so that it was straight. I definitely added a little bit more vibrancy to the color. But now I want to crop my photo. So the idea here, and you can see the shaded at the back, that's where I straighten out my photo. So the idea here is that I want this photo to look like a 12 by 12 on my double page layout. So I'm going to go right here on the side and I am going to pick 8 by 11 because my printer here at home only prints 8.5 by 11. That's the size I'm going to print today. So you can see here that I've again fixed the horizon on my photo and I'm going to drag my 8 by 11 box and I'm going to make it as big as I can on the left hand side. So this is going to be my first crop and I'm going to pay attention here to the width. Do you see that number where it says 1741? That's an important number to remember here. So I'm going to apply that. And now I have half of my photo. I'm going to download that onto my computer, and then we're going to do the other side. Working from the same project file, I'm going to click Undo. I'm going to go back up here in Crop, and I'm going to select 8 by 11 one more time. Now you can see that I've got to shrink this down. Now I'm not going to guess this number. I'm going to go back to that width and I wrote that number down, which was 1741. So we're going to type that in, 1741. I have the exact same size I did previously. Now I'm going to drag this across and I'm going to keep myself a reference point. So for my photo right here is a really good reference point when I seam these two photos together. So now I'm going to save that and I'm going to have 2 images. I'm going to have 2 images that are going to print out 8.5 by 11 on the printer I have at home. So let me go print those. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to use those 2 pieces of that single photo on a double page layout. Let's bring in those pretty large prints. Now these are the 2 prints that I got from my 8.5 by 11. And you know what? I could run it across and make it look like an 11 by 16, but I'm going to crop this down. Now, what's important here is that I've got my little reference point, which is where I'm going to line up these 2 photos. I'm actually not going to line them up. I'm going to put this one here on this side. So this one is going to go all the way to the top. I'm going to add my paper here. I'm going to add this photo here. And then because I can't print a 12 by 12, my printer will not allow for that. This is where this piece comes in. Do you see that? I'm going to run this continuously at the bottom of this page. I've got this photo here. And then where my photo splits, because I'm doing this at home on my printer, I am going to, I know that I have to overlap, so I know that I can cut this. This is pretty easy because I gave myself a really good reference point. So I'm going to trim that down, and then I think I'm going to add a little flair to this picture. Now, I'm not going to cover it all up because what's the point in printing a large photo if you're going to cover most of it? I am going to do the same thing here. I am going to run this piece continuously at the bottom. And then I want to add these photos here. Now, I know that I'm hiding a little bit of the scenery, but I'm totally okay with that. Now, the next thing I have to do to seam this, because I don't want to have a repeat right here. So I'm going to trim this down. So I know that if I put this on my mat and I line this up, I need to trim off 1/2 inch. So if I trim off 1/2 inch, when I start on this side, that photo is going to be continuous. So let me just go trim that off. So now I can add my photo right here, and it's definitely continuing. Now, let me bring this together so that it makes more sense. Once it's in my album, it's going to go like this. So do you see that? My clouds are lining up, and I had just given myself a little bit of a reference to be able to cut that perfectly to make this continuous. Now, I do want to add a little bit of flair because I want to see a little bit more of this pattern paper. I kept it all these years, so I must have known that someday I was going to use it. So I want to have like an angle going down. The reason why I want to have an angle is because I do have photos on this side. If this was a true 12 by 12, you would have, so see on this side, I have 8, and then I would have 4 inches. And that's where my photo would stop if I was going to run it across 2 pages. Now, because I had an 8-inch piece on this side, I decided to angle this off. And the reason for that is I know that I want to add a few photos on my left-hand side page, and I just find that it gives it a little bit more interest. And now my photos are not directly on the image, which wasn't bad, but I kind of like this better. Let's take a look at how this is shaping up. I really do like this. My photo is here, so I'm going to have to do something with that. It's a pretty harsh line that stops, but I really love the way I was able to expand my photo, to use my photo pretty much as the background, and to give it a little bit more interest. Now, again, I went stash diving. I know I want to use this. I kind of feel like it looks like a compass, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use it here. I've got this one too. Maybe here I'll have to do a little bit of a cluster. This is not showing up as nicely. Maybe I could bring it down here. I'm going to have to play with that, definitely. So since we're stash diving, I'm going to bring in some of this. It's like jute. This is probably going to end up here, or maybe here at the bottom. I do like it here. I like that transition. I like the transition on both. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point, but I know I'm going to bring this in just to kind of finish off the transition. For my title, I think this is a really great place. And I went in my stash, and this is something that's a little bit more current. And I found this pretty cool title, and I thought that this would look really, really good. So it's kind of like a wood grain, and I think that this is going to work out. I think it works with the photo and it works with the style of the paper that I have. So I'm definitely going to put my title here. I also have these little tags that I can bring either here or here. I don't know. I know that I'm going to bring them somewhere. I've got one here. Maybe I'll bring one on this side. I can add the date and the location. Now, let me talk to you quickly about this photo because you're probably wondering if you've noticed my foot is out. So when we started this hike right at the beginning, isn't it always the way? Right at the beginning, I got myself a huge soaker. My foot was, I remember walking and it was like squish, 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 full of water. So while my husband was climbing up this top peak, I took my sock off, I took my boot off, and it was so, so warm that I was warming up my foot. Even though I got a soaker within the first minute of this hike was absolutely breathtaking. So let me tack some of these down and then we will go through how I'm going to dress it up with either ribbon or maybe I'll go look for more embellishments. Let me just tack all of these loose pieces down and I'll be right back. All right, so I've gone ahead here and I've adhered down this piece and I managed to save a piece to bring on this side, possibly. I don't know, we'll see. But for now, I do have a little piece here and I've got my piece here that's going to go at the bottom so that it hides the fact that this is not a true 12 by 12. It's 11 inches. I really do like that. And then I was toying with bringing this in and I really do like that. I really do like how it separates the pattern paper from the photo. So I'm not going to bring it here and here. That's going to be a little bit too much. So I decided just to cut a little bit of this is outdoor denim. If you were with Close My Heart for a while, you will remember this color. And I think that that ends up capping this piece really, really nicely. So I'm going to start with this piece first. And I am going to tack it down. I am going to use older scissors because burlap is not very forgiving. So we're going to go here. And I actually like to put glue on the back side. So I'm going to add some here just to hold it in place. So I'm going to tack this down right here, right at the edge of that photo. I don't want to cover the photo. I'm going to put it here and here, and I'm going to press that in. And I really like the way this is looking. Okay, so I've got that. I am going to add my piece here. Now, this paper is really, really thin, so I'm actually going to trim that right close so that I don't end up with a bump on my pattern paper. So I'm just gonna trim that down, add a little bit of tape, and now when I add this piece, hopefully I'm not gonna have an awkward little bump. This paper is, oh my gosh, this paper is probably 20 years old. So I think it's time to use it. All right, so let's just add it here at the bottom. And just like that, I have a full piece. Now, I do like to ink distress my edges, but I don't have my outdoor denim ink anymore. So one thing that I do like to do is I go through the inks that I have, and I was toying going with black or gray or even green, but espresso is a really good color. It kind of neutralizes all of the colors together, and it just adds that little bit of ink that you need on this edge that is white. Sometimes I don't mind the white edge, but sometimes I like it when it's nice and dark. So I'm going to do that for all of the cut pieces, And I'm going to use espresso for everything. That way it's got a uniform look. We're going to tack this down, and this one here was cut at 1 1/4. So I think I'm going to put this right on top. My little strip that I cut down here is actually 3/8. And we're just going to add this, and I find that it adds a really nice transition between the two pattern papers. All right, then I can add my photos. I've got this one here. Kind of like them like that. Do I want it like this? Maybe I'll do this, and then I can add this compass here. Or maybe I can add the adventure one here, which is a bit smaller. You know what? I kind of like that. Because I'm going to have a cluster of embellishments here. I'm going to have my title, and then I'm going to bring that down. So I do like that. I'm going to leave that there just for good measure, and then we're going to slide over. I know that I've got a couple of these that I want to incorporate. So I'm going to slide over on this side. And this, we're just going to slide off the photo. I know that this photo is going to go right here. So that's an 8.5 by 11. You can see here very clearly on my mat that that's the size. That's the only size I was able to print on my printer. And I'm just playing with this here at this point. I do like this paper, but I don't like that I don't have a full set of little squares here. So if I do this, yeah, you know what? I don't think it really matters. Once I cap this off with my burlap, I think it's gonna look fine. Okay, so we're gonna do the ink distressing. So we're gonna do that on this piece here, and you can see that I'm only doing the 3 sides. So we're gonna go here and here. So that's gonna look nice. And I'm going to tack down my photo first. I'm gonna turn that over. So I've got my photo. I really like the way that that is turning out. I'm gonna add my piece here. Now, let me see here. I am hiding a little bit of that photo. So this is the original piece. I didn't have anything else. This was the size that it was when I pulled it out of that bag. I'm going to add my burlap ribbon right here. Okay. So this one here actually went on top of the pattern paper. This one here I'm going to go on top of the photo because I want my pattern to look like it was a full square. And that's just a preference. Now I just realized that I didn't need to cut this long because I don't want to have that awkward bump. So I'm going to trim that down. And we're going to add our stripe paper to match the other side. I really love the way this is turning out. I'm going to add a little bit of distressing on this piece here. I'm just going to run this quickly. Take a look at what else do we have for this layout. Now, I think I'm going to sneak this out a little bit more to give equal distance all around. I think I like this here. And then this is October. October is pointing outside. Of course, that's not going to work, right? So we're going to put October here. And I think I'm going to put it straight. I didn't like the arrow pointing on the outside. And we have discover, explore, search, treasure, celebrate. I think explore is a good one. We're almost done here. I definitely needed to ground this embellishment. The colors were definitely too close to the pattern paper, so easy fix for that is to add a few tags, and the tags were done up with the same twine and a little bit of ribbon. I did type my journaling. I didn't have too much to say, but I know that I didn't have a lot of room to journal because we have such a big picture in the background, and I really, really like the way that's turning out. So let's just tack down our photos. I am going to put this embellishment here because, again, the arrow is facing into the layout. So let's just tack these down. And I don't have to add a whole bunch to this layout, which I really, really like. The photos are speaking for themselves, and you can absolutely print big photos at home, and this is the perfect cheat, I think. So let me just make sure that my photos are nice and lined up. We're just going to add this one here. On this piece right here, I stamped October 23rd, and it was the 23rd day, not year. I don't know about you guys, I have this Heidi Swap little stamp, and it stops at 2021. So hopefully I can find another one. I left it blank, and I use 23 for the day, but it ends up being the same year. So that works. Hopefully I can find another one of those. If you know where I can get one, please let me know in the comments, because I do like to use those once in a while. These embellishments are quite big. They're out of chipboard, so I'm going to use some glue dots just to make sure that they stay down. And I'm going to add a few of them all around the outside. Not sure if you still have this collection in your stash, but it's really good for hikes. And I'm really happy that I did keep it all these years. So I'm going to put this nice and straight. I did fussy cut a few of those little trees, and I think I like them. I like that it just gives a little punch right here at the bottom. So I'm going to add them. I was contemplating adding them with dimensional foam, but this paper is so thin that in time, they're just going to kind of lose their shapes. So I'm just going to tack them down. So this page is done. Let's move on to this side. And for this side here, I've got my journaling. So I'm going to tack that down. And my photo. So I made my little journal box the same width as my photo here. So we're going to add this about here, and this right here. So this place is called Eagle Nest Lookout, and this is the lookout. So my husband was at the lookout, so it's actually kind of far. He's on this side and I'm on the other side of him. I took a photo of him, he took a photo of me, and if you see my jean here, it's wet all the way up to almost my knees. So when I say that I got a big soaker, I'm not kidding you. It was the first couple of seconds or minutes into our hike. And of course, my husband had a really good laugh. But I persevered and walked all the way up, or hiked all the way up. And it was a really good day. So I thought that this was worth documenting. And when he was standing on the lookout, he was just standing there. And I'm like, aren't you happy we made it all the way up here? Come on, give me a pose for me. So yes, he posed for this photo. And I think that makes for a really pretty layout. And making this a large photo is pretty awesome as well. So hopefully you're going to give this a try if you can print from home. And you can see that you can totally make this look like it's a 12 by 12. I know I've seen a lot of layouts where people use a 12 by 12 photo and they kind of separate it onto a double page layout. That was the idea here, but I kind of did it in a different little way. Now we are done, almost done. I was looking for embellishments, and of course I'm not going to add gems because that really doesn't go with the style. And then I thought of these. These are adhesive back textured dots, and I think that that's going to work. It's going to mimic the little brad that is inside these pieces. So I'm going to add a few. I think I'm going to go up here. So you have two sizes, a little one and a big one. I think that they're big enough and they're going to show. That pattern paper is quite busy, but I just felt like I needed something. And I also like to add them on my transition strip. I usually do that. So put two here at the end. I'm not going to add any here. And I think I'm going to add a few up here. What do you think of this completed layout? I love that this photo is running completely across these two pages. The colors, the paper, even though this paper is super old, I really do feel that it complements these photos that I had to document today. I love that I was able to add a tiny little bit of journaling, some supporting photos, and really highlight this big photo that was printed at home. Don't forget to watch all of the rest of the videos. The creative design team are sharing their ideas all week long. If you've been waiting patiently to join the creative design team membership group, we are open until August 18 for one short week. I would love to see you there. If you'd like to see all of the videos from the creative design team, click this link right here on the right-hand side and watch the entire playlist. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.